Hello, everybody. I have Holly with me here today on this episode of the SCAR Initiative. I'm really excited because Holly is a longtime friend of mine. I met her back in 2014, I believe is when it was. I was deployed to Djibouti, Africa, and Holly was one of the very first supporters I ever received a letter from, and her and I just continued to stay in contact. So I'm excited to have Holly share her story and a little bit about the SCAR that she has chosen to talk about today. So I'll turn it over to Holly if you want to give a little introduction about yourself and what you'll be talking about today.
Hi, my name is Holly. I was in a car accident July 21st, 1990. It left me paralyzed from the waist down, and it hasn't stopped me from doing anything.
Yeah, Holly actually has so much that she does. How many letters, tell the audience anyway, how many letters do you think that you have written, or the number of people? Do you have track of that?
I'm guessing I have supported 300 people since December 2005.
Wow.
And I'm guessing probably 200,000 letters have left my house.
Amazing.
And 200 care packages.
Wow. Holly does a great job of supporting the veterans and active duty members who are deployed, whatever their situation may be. So how did you get involved with that?
A good friend of mine, we met camping at a campground here in Ohio, and they're from the same county that I'm from. He was still in him and his brother were still in high school, and the 9/11 stuff happened, and he decided he was going to enlist in the Army. So we kept in contact through his deployments. His second deployment, he had some health issues, so they sent him home. So we met up for Frisch's when it was open. They closed. And he was like, Paul, some of the guys aren't getting mail in my unit, so I share what you send. So it bugged me all the way back home to my house. So I started researching how I could change it. And I would send extra to him to help out. So once people in my area realized what I was doing, they were giving me names and addresses to write to.
That's just amazing.
So I've continued.
Wow. And you've been doing that for quite some time. I'm very impressed. You've gotten a lot of honors and reception for what you have done. So I can definitely say it's very much appreciated, especially on the deployed side, just having that support, even from people you don't know. And who would have thought that all these years later, we would still be connected and still friends just from that one letter that you wrote. It happened to come into my path. So what a blessing.
Yeah. I love our friendship.
Yeah, I do too. It has grown. We've really gotten to know each other over the years, and I see your family growing, just doing great things. It's always, who'd have thought that just the one connection with a letter would have created the friendship that we have, and you being able to share your story with people. That's what I love about just connections that we can make all across the world. It's pretty awesome.
Right.
Yeah, so let's start off, if you can, tell us a little bit about the accident. Do you remember bits and part of that day?
I had some friends over to swim in our swimming pool. Two of the friends and their sister lived in Rosewood at the time, which is a very small town. There's not even a stoplight in this town. That's how you go through there. If you blink, you missed it.
Gotcha.
The railroad track crosses 3 times in that town.
Okay.
We had just dropped Brad and Chad and their sister Shelly off.
Mm-hmm.
And mom looked both ways, didn't see nothing, didn't hear nothing, crossed the track. Train hit where I was sitting. The last thing I remember is going out the hatchback window, and Brad and Chad came to help with us. Brad had to crawl under the train. Another friend, Wayne, came from the other side.
Mm-hmm.
He lived on the same street, but and helped. They transported me to Graham North, which is an elementary school there that is now tore down.
Mm-hmm.
Fire department. And they took me to Ohio State Hospitals in Columbus. And I spent 2 weeks in the main hospital there and went to Dodd Hall, which is for physical and occupational therapy.
Mm-hmm.
I did 3 months there.
Wow. So was that train supposed to be coming through that track at that time, or what happened that I mean, you guys said you looked both ways and all of a sudden that happened. Do you know anything else about what caused that train to be there at that time?
There was no light on the horn, and there was no light on the train, and there was no horn.
Oh, wow.
So
Oh my gosh. Oh,
if I would have had my seatbelt on, I wouldn't be here today.
really?
Yeah, it would have cut me in half.
Oh my gosh.
Because it was one of those lap belts. It wasn't where it comes down this way.
Okay.
It was the lap belts.
Unbelievable. Oh my gosh. So what was it like? Now you're in the hospital, you're recovering. Do you already have the sensation of I can't really feel anything? Or what is it like that being in the hospital now at this time after you've had some recovery time?
At first, I really didn't know what was going on because they had me so much medication in my system. And I just really confused.
Yeah.
And the doctors came in and they had to tell me that I was never going to walk again.
Mm.
So when you're 15 years old and you're being told you can't walk again, my mindset was, I'm going to walk again.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
So, yeah.
So did the doctors already know based on the accident that you were going to be paralyzed from the waist down, or was it surgery, or what was it that happened?
They already knew from the MRIs and the X-rays.
Okay.
My spinal cord was slivered at the level that I'm at, and the 2 vertebrae were crushed. They didn't want to try to do surgery. They were hoping that it would grow back together, and it didn't grow back together.
Mm. So have you had any surgeries since that accident?
I have had it. None of excuse me. None of it was due to the accident itself.
Okay.
I had gallbladder, carpal tunnel surgery, 2 shoulder surgeries.
Right. Which you're recovering from now, so.
Right. See, and a shunt surgery. They went in and put a shunt in my spinal cord.
Wow.
I had too much spinal cord fluid in my spinal cord, so that it drains into my right lung cavity.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. Is that a permanent fixture for the situation for the spinal fluid?
Yeah, unless it goes bad.
Gotcha. Okay.
So if it goes bad, then I have to go back.
Okay. Okay. That is, to me, that just is so unbelievable that you didn't ever have to have any kind of surgery off of that accident. I mean, it seems like such a traumatic accident that I'm surprised that you didn't have more that the doctors needed to repair.
Unfortunate, very fortunate.
Yeah, that is I mean, it sounds like it's an absolute miracle. Just the timing with everything that happened, your seat belt being the way that it was, the way that your spinal cord was impacted. I mean, all these things together, any different could have, you may not be here today when you think about it.
Right.
Holy cow.
Right.
So how does this accident impact you either physically or mentally then being 15 years old and now present day?
I hid a lot of my emotions when it happened because I thought I needed to be strong for my parents and my brother.
Mm-hmm.
My mom was driving when we had the accident. My dad worked second shift. My brother was in the front seat when we had the accident.
Mm-hmm.
So mom felt bad. She's always felt bad that she thinks she's caused the accident.
Wow.
Dad, dad was working and sheriff department shows up and says, your family's been in an accident.
Mm-hmm.
So mom and my brother had to go to our local hospital to get checked out first. My brother went with one of my uncles, and that's the advantage of having a big family.
Mm-hmm.
My mom had 9 brothers, and there's 9 of them. So we all lived here, close by. So my one uncle took him, and him and mom came to Columbus, which is an hour from where we live at here.
Gotcha.
So when I hit 40, things it came at me like, I don't know what the word you would use, but it hit me. And I struggle with PTSD and depression
Mm-hmm.
because of it.
Mm-hmm.
When I see a train or hear a train, it sends me to that night still.
Wow. Yeah, I can imagine any kind of sound action may be very triggering, and what a lot of people who go through these really serious accidents are trying to cope with is just knowing that while the accident may have been in the past, there's still very much a lot of connectedness to sounds, smells, whatever that may be. So how are you able to cope with crossing a train track now whenever you're in the car or hearing the sound of a train?
If my niece and nephew are with us, they know about the accident.
Mm-hmm.
So they are talking to me, asking me maybe something silly or a bad joke they heard.
Right.
They're my distraction from crossing the tracks. But if for some reason they're not with us, I will go quiet.
Mm-hmm.
In a heartbeat, and it'll take me a good half hour or so before I'll say anything.
Mm. So it's still very much a part of you, even all these years later. And so how have you adapted to, do you feel like it's gotten easier or has it gotten harder for you since that time and now?
It's gotten easier. Some days are easier,
Mm-hmm.
some days are harder.
Sure.
It just depends. But you've seen my drawings, so I do a
Mm-hmm.
lot of time sketching stuff.
Yeah.
Going back to school to be a teacher. So my goal is to be able to help the next generation be better and show them that they can do whatever they set their mind out to do.
That's right.
They have to think it here
Mm-hmm.
and feel it here.
Yeah. And I'm sure it wasn't always like that for you.
No.
I'm sure. So how did you get to that mindset now? From I can do anything I put my mind to before when the accident occurred, and even before the accident.
And my dad, even though I hate trains, my dad,
Yeah.
he was sitting in the hospital room with me, and he drew this. Remember the little train that could?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He drew that, and he put, "I can, I think I can, think I can." And he
Oh.
hung it above my head. And then there's a Bible verse that was sent to me when I was in the hospital. Philippians 4:13.
Yep.
I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So those two things helped me get to where I'm at today.
That is so ironic that your dad had the little train, and then the accident was because of a train.
Yeah.
Did that cross your mind whenever he put that up for you?
It didn't cross my mind until just now. And it's been 31 years.
Oh my God. Thanks, Dad.
And
Who would have thought?
I know I have.
Wow.
Right, I have that drawing somewhere here in my bedroom.
That
Once
is
I recover from the,
yeah.
I'll have to find it.
Well, you think about it, and it makes me wonder, did your dad know what he was doing at the time whenever he did that? Or was he, I know it sounds like it was with really good intent, and you think, Dad, I just got hit by a train. My life almost was ended. And here we are, the little engine that could. And now you are that train. It's like, metaphorically, you are that train who's going through life, not letting anything stop them.
I'm going to have to ask him when we're done.
Yeah.
So if you get a message from me later, you'll know.
I will.
You'll know.
I will make sure to follow that up with people so that they know this is what Holly's dad was.
Right.
We'll have a to be continued version of that portion of the story, but that's so crazy that he did that. I mean, it's kind of a beautiful story at the same time, and the metaphor to how he has now put you as the train versus the actual train doing what it did, but now you're the train of life, just going through and saying, I'm going to do whatever I can. Nothing's going to stop me. So what sort of things have you been doing that you didn't think that you could, but you actually accomplished?
I snow skied.
Really?
And before, we have a place here called Mad River Mountain. It's not a mountain. It's a big hill. Where I'm at, there are no mountains. I promise you. So when I was in college at Wright State, which is down around Dayton, they had this thing that they were going to go skiing. So I called home and I said, Mom, Dad, really want to do this. I'm like, do it. I was like, okay. So we came home, we went. It's probably 45 minutes from here. And to know my dad and my brother, they are my biggest supporters. They will say, go do this. You know?
Yeah.
So we get there, and my brother, we have this pick on each other routine down. He goes, you're going to get on top of that mountain and you're going to fall and cause a big snowball effect and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm going to show you, little brother.
Yep.
So it has two skis on it, and it looks like a little C on these skis. And and they give you 2 pulls to put on your arm for the pulls.
Yeah.
So they took me on top of the hill, and I came down. Well, the people that were there, they snapped my brother called it a dog leash. I don't know what it really was called, but it's what it reminded him of. And, that way, if anything happened, they were able to get to me quickly.
Right.
Got up there, came down that hill. I didn't fall once.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah. I want to go again.
I bet.
I've tubed behind a boat. I've tubed down a river. You're gonna love this one. My parents went somewhere. I don't remember where they went, but my brother got my dad's truck stuck. He comes in the house and says, "I'm gonna need your help." Doing what? I got dad's truck stuck. I need to put you on dad's tractor. So, yeah. So, dad's tractor didn't have hand controls because I drove with hand controls.
Right.
So we got a stick, and I operated the pedals with the sticks. My grandparents showed up at the house. What are you guys doing? He got the truck stuck. My parents come home. What are you doing on the tractor? He got the truck stuck. Yeah. Busted twice in one day. Yeah. I've gone deer hunting, and I broke my left leg going out the very first time ever. Didn't even know it was broke.
Wow.
Yeah, it was right before my niece was born. So every baby picture we have of her and me holding her, my leg is sticking out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
So, I still go fishing. I still go camping. I may have to do things differently, but I go out there and I do them. Since I was care flighted, I knew what the inside of a care flight looked like because I had seen the inside from where they landed it.
Yeah.
They were doing, people could look inside it. Well, one of the county fairs, I decided I was going to ride in a helicopter. Did it when I would, and I didn't remember it. I had to see what it was like afterwards.
Yeah.
Or, wait. So I did that. Tried to talk my brother in it. He was like, hell no. Not doing it. Nope. So, yeah.
You've had some adventures. What's something that you're looking forward to doing? What's on your bucket list?
I want to do parasailing.
Okay, that's cool. I like it.
I've got a bucket list, but that's the first one that jumps out at me.
And see, I think it's so awesome. It's so inspiring that even with what happened, you're still got that mindset of it doesn't matter. You're still you're alive. You got breath in your lungs. You have a heartbeat. You got a mind to think. You're still taking action and living life to the very fullest. And that's what, to me, even people who have never had an accident before are still very scared to even do. They're afraid to take that step. What do you think gives you that courage to be able to do that?
One of my roommates that I had at the rehab center, she's paralyzed from the neck down. So one night she goes, Paul, you still have your arms. I don't. We both can't walk. And there were people there that had strokes, and they don't remember who the nurse was that walked in. And, you could hear them screaming and moaning at night. And she goes, at least we're better off than they are. So from then on, you know, there's always somebody worse off than I am. You know, I don't know their stories, but somebody is worse off than I am. You know, and we're still in contact today. She was from Kentucky.
Mm.
So, and we both were in car accidents. So, I don't know why they sent her to Ohio, but I don't know how that works.
Wow, that is, to me, it just shows the resilience and the courage that you have, despite the limitations now, and things may be a little bit different, that you're still doing it. You're still getting out there and you're trying and you're living life. And I can imagine that's been part of your healing journey of this, the physical and the invisible scars from the accident. So what has that healing journey been like for you personally?
It's been interesting. I have a niece and a nephew, and they didn't know me beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
They've always known me as, you know, using a wheelchair.
Yeah.
So they've asked questions, you know, and I knew in 8th grade that once I graduated from high school, I was going to the Air Force to be a pilot.
Mm-hmm.
The accident, I can't do that.
Right.
So Nicholas, he was like 6, 7 years old. And he says, I wish you could walk. I said, buddy, if I was walking, I wouldn't be here today. Well, where would you be at, Ha Ha? Well, I would be serving our country. I wouldn't be able to see you grow up. I wouldn't be here for holidays. He goes, never mind. I want you to be in that wheelchair.
Oh.
You know, and it's kids' minds and the things they say just amazes me.
Yeah.
When I volunteered at the elementary school, kids were honest. They would ask, well, why are you different than me? And it would give me the opportunity to share my story with them.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll let them know that can't isn't an option.
Right.
You know, and their parents, the kids' parents would stare at me like I was a freak. And, you know, it's just, in my mind, it's strange how adults don't get kids' honesty, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They're different. Why?
Yeah.
You know.
Have you had to have some of these discussions? I mean, I can imagine that's a tough conversation to have with kids, that you look a little different because you're in a chair versus walking on your legs. How have they responded to that?
They've been great. There was one class, they were pre-kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
They would, why are you in that chair thingy? Well, I was in a car accident, you know.
Mm-hmm.
My legs don't work like yours. For a youngster to understand, they relate to their toy being broke. So I would say, my legs are broke and the doctors can't fix them.
Mm-hmm.
So the next day I go back in. Hey, do you get out of your wheelchair? Yeah. Well, how? So I would explain the process.
Right.
Well, do you sleep with your shoes on? No, I take them off just like you do. You know,
Right.
every day I went back, they had a different question, you know, how I did things, which is good because,
Yes.
you know, it was making them think.
Yeah. It's a good education for kids. I think it's that opens up the conversation. Ask questions instead of staring and making it awkward and uncomfortable, and which is
Right.
blatantly just rude. Have that conversation. And I think that's why it's so important to have the conversation that we're
Right.
having, so people see it's okay to ask questions. That I would rather somebody ask me questions about whatever it is than to just stare and make assumptions.
Right. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I had $1 for every time an adult stared at me,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be here in Ohio. I would be on some island, suntan, probably hanging from a tree.
Right.
I mean, I can see it now.
How have
Where'd
adults?
Holly go?
Yeah.
Where'd Holly go?
Oh my goodness. So adults have definitely reacted a lot differently than kids have. It seems like kids are probably more inquisitive. Adults are more standoffish. Would that be a good assessment?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Two things stick out. One time I saw this person. We've known each other since we were kids, and she saw me, and it was the first time she had seen me since the accident. And she started patting me on the head. Oh, it was good to see you. And my cousin looked at me. I looked at my cousin, and she goes, "What are you, a dog now?" I said, "Evidently." So years later, oh, this one will top the cake for you. We were camping, and the campground owner says, "Well, how did your interviews go?"
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Nah, I don't think they went well." This lady looks at me, and she was older than the owner, the lady, and me. She goes, "Oh, you can work?" And I just the friend went off on her.
Oh my
And I was
gosh.
just like, my legs are affected, not the rest of me.
Right.
I mean,
Oh,
I write. She was like, "Holly rides 4-wheelers. They used to have jet skis," and she goes, "Oh, well, she left. I mean, no time at all. She was gone."
wow.
And I looked at my friend. I said,
Mm.
"What was that?" She goes, "I have no idea."
It just makes you think the ignorance of people. Just so,
Right.
why would you say something like that? There's nothing wrong with your mind. You are still very
Right.
physically able to work and to live life and to do anything that she's able to do, minus walking. It's like that's the only thing that you can't do is physically walk, but you can do anything else.
Right.
Good Lord.
Yeah. Yeah. It was something.
Yeah, I can imagine that would definitely make me feel I don't know how I would not want to try to fight that woman, just the way that she said
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Well, the kid, my niece and nephew, what's the strangest thing anybody has ever said to you? That one caked it.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, "Why didn't you throat punch her?" Like, well, I didn't want to go to jail. And, didn't feel like going to jail that night.
Right. So it's definitely been quite a journey from where things started to now, and you've encountered a lot of different people, a lot of different emotions and situations and dynamics, but ultimately you have such a powerful inspirational story for people to understand that it's okay if you're different, and we're all different in our own ways, but never limit yourself to what you can do. So what would be the takeaway or the message that you have seen or you have felt over the years with your story?
never judge a book by its cover.
That's a
I
good
know you've heard that,
one. Mm-hmm.
now that I'm going back to be a teacher,
Right.
going back to school to be a teacher, I can use my story to help some of these kids that they may be from another country
Mm-hmm.
and came to the United States and, help them with their journey.
Yeah.
Or a kid, you know, with a disability struggling, you know, because there's a lot more kids that are in the school systems now with disabilities than there was when I was in school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And they have you as a
So,
role model. That's what I love is that
yeah,
you are that role model for them. They can identify because they see you, somebody who looks like them. So
yeah,
and that is so incredible to build those worlds together for as an adult and as a child. For a child to see somebody that they can identify with is such an important, powerful tool, and their ability to grow and to realize that you're not limited by what has happened. Only your mind is going to limit you.
right. Exactly.
Awesome. Awesome. Is there any story, um, call to action, any kind of lesson, anything else you want to add to your story? Anything that kind of came up in conversation that you thought of?
I did. And
Yeah.
you're the one that inspired it. You were
Oh,
talking about how you were talking about the stuff that like some of the soldiers have done. I have gotten 3 American flags from that have flown at the different bases
mhm.
that these guys have flown from, and I've gotten military challenge coins, and the stories behind the challenge coins is something I had never heard of until. But my first one was one of the guys that helped with the night of our accident. We
Wow.
went to school to get we've known each other since kindergarten,
Mhm.
and we've remained friends since. And some of the things we've been through hasn't been the greatest, but we've gotten through them. But he invited me to a military ball 3 years ago, 2 years ago. This pandemic has got me all screwed up. I don't know if I'm coming or going or what. Oh, but that was a blast. I'd never been to one.
Oh, I bet that was fun. Super fun.
Yeah, and I was in a dress. Can you believe it? I was in a dress.
Well, she looked beautiful, by the way. Thank you for sharing that photo. You
Thank
looked
you.
amazing.
Thank you.
Yes.
My family's like, you're wearing a dress. I'm like, yeah, and I'm not happy about it, but it is what it is.
It's for a good cause.
Right, right. But it's amazing that you know, being a civilian, we don't get to see what you guys
Mhm.
deal with, and that's amazing to see both worlds collide.
It really is. It is because I see your world as, I mean, it really just puts things into perspective for me, knowing that I have no excuse whatsoever to not get up every day and make a difference somehow. Because I see what you're doing with writing your letters, sending out the care packages, going back to school for teaching, raising 2 amazing niece and nephews. I mean, they're just the coolest. And still just doing life. I mean, to me, you were doing all of this despite being in a wheelchair. And although that's how you are able to get around, it has no bearing whatsoever on you living your best life. And that is inspiring to me. That makes me feel motivated to continue doing something all the time for anybody. And that's why it's so important to share your story. And I appreciate that so much, Holly. Thank you so much.
And I'm glad you reached out and asked me.
You're welcome. You are
It
so
means
welcome. Yeah, it definitely, every story matters. Doesn't matter who you are. We all have a story, and somehow we can connect with that. So do you have any last closing thoughts that you want to include?
No, I don't know what it would be. I don't know.
Well, the fact that you're here after surgery is incredible, by the way. Thank you so much for.
Not a problem. That was scary. I don't want to deal with that again, ever.
Yeah. So for people who are watching, Holly just had a surgery. Was it last week? Is that when it was?
It was Thursday, this last Thursday.
Yeah. Okay. So it was
the 4th.
Yeah. Very, very recent. So you can see that Holly, bless her, is recovering still from her shoulder surgery and had a few complications, and you're here to tell and to live another day and share your story with us, which is, good Lord, I can't imagine. I'm getting over a head cold and I feel like a huge baby right now, just trying to get through that.
Well, it was funny because I told Paige, gotta love her. She's 16, almost 17. She came in, print stuff off, and said, "Man, I'm not gonna feel sorry for myself, but being the one-armed lady right now stinks. It stinks, man."
So you're down 2 legs and an arm, so you don't got much more you can.
Right. I was like, there's 3 flies on the loose in my room.
Oh no.
And they keep landing on me, and I can't smack my left arm because I'm going to scream. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I need
Wow.
Nick to bring a Nerf gun down.
Right.
I
have to tell people too, your sense of humor and your ability to use that as a good mechanism for healing is also fantastic. I don't think that people really put a whole lot of value into having a good attitude and humor as a part of healing. Do you feel like that has actually helped you throughout life?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm joking around. On my wheelchair, you can pop the big wheels off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, and to know my dad and my brother, we're always picking on each other. So, I'll say something to be a jerk to my brother.
Yeah.
He goes, "You better shut up. We're going to take your wheels off and let you sit somewhere." Said, "I'll just army crawl to you. No big deal." And my mom's just, shaking her head. Poor mom. She's gonna put up with all of this.
Right. Gosh bless her. She's a saint.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Holly, thank you so much for sharing your story. And I cannot wait to share this with everybody in the community. So it has been a pleasure talking with you today. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lindsay.
You're welcome.
You're awesome.
Thank you.